Oh, Vigneswaraya Namaha. Namaste, friends. I am Gurti Visweswara Rao, and I already introduced myself in my earlier videos. The first one is an introductory one, and the second one is for chapter 1 of my book. My book's title is Bhagavad Gita, My Commoners Viewpoint. I got it printed by Notion Press Chennai and it is available on Amazon and Flipkart also. This particular video is for the second chapter in my book and corresponds to Sankhya Yoga in Bhagavad Gita. As in the book, in each video, I am trying to give first a brief account or gist of Bhagavan's message contained in that particular chapter, followed by my own viewpoint expressed again in brief. My point of view is just as understood by me, a commoner among multitude of commoners in this world. Also, my friends, I am specifically trying in each video to put forth my ideas and my viewpoints on Bhagavan's message in each chapter of Bhagavad Gita in the shortest possible time, around 15 to 20 minutes, only a little of your precious time. With my inherent interest in knowing about the magnificent philosophical treatise Bhagavad Gita and about the wonderful and mysterious creator of this beautiful world, what I have written in my book and what I am expressing in my videos is a simple outcome of that interest. Whatever my viewpoints penned in the book or being expressed in these videos, I sincerely expect to be valuable to those who have absolute faith in the God Almighty. In the last video of chapter 1 of my book, which corresponds to Arjuna Nishad Yoga in Bhagavad Gita, we learned that Arjuna got into deep despair at the start of the war with his cousins Kauravas. He was at his wit's end and was completely perplexed and besieged, that is, caught by mixed feelings of remorse and compassion. As you know, Arjuna was fortunate enough to have Bhagavan Sri Krishna by his side. Till then, Arjuna treated Sri Krishna as his close relative and a friend. Even though he knows that Sri Krishna was a noble person of godly nature, he was not aware of the fact that Sri Krishna was God's incarnate himself in Dwapara Yuga. The sole purpose of establishing dharma, the virtuousness and social order in the society, by punishing the evil and the wicked. Fortunately, better senses prevailed on him, and he completely surrendered himself to Bhagavan Sri Krishna as a humble disciple and implored and requested him to advise him on what to do at that critical time. Bhagavan Sri Krishna took the mantle of a guru, teacher to Arjuna, and of a Visuguru, or world teacher for all of us. Here in this chapter, Sankhya Yoga start actual divine messages by Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. That is the song of God. He brushed aside all the arguments of Arjuna for not continuing with the war. He explained that Arjuna's grief over persons mentioned by him and his remorse about killing his kith and kin in the war is uncalled for, that is not required. Saying this, Sri Krishna, the Bhagavan incarnate, revealed the first and the foremost reality about a mortal life in this sloka. Natve vaham jatu nasam, natvan neme janadipaha, nachaiva na bhavishyamaha, sarve vaimata param. Meaning, he reveals all beings, including Arjuna, all others, including Sri Krishna also, were there in the past and will exist in future also. There is a being. Everyone, every being is embodied or personified by the presence of Atma or Jivatma within this body. This Jivatma is indestructible, that is everlasting. The body perishes, but not the Jivatma. In this sloka, Antamanti me deha nisasokta sariranha anasino primeyasya tasmadujjasva bharata. Bhagavan Sri Krishna discloses to Arjuna the sublime truth that all bodies perish at the time of death, but Jivatma, residing within a physical body, is immortal. It is also incomprehensible, that is unfathomable, and it is beyond understanding. Sri Krishna asks Arjuna to know this truth and to go and fight the war. He further says, whatever thoughts Arjuna is having, that is, he is going to kill his people in the war, is misplaced, since Jivatma killing another one and being killed by other one is only a moha and illusion. This is so because Jivatma in a mortal being has no birth or death. It is eternal. Just as this physical body passes on from childhood to youth and then to old age, Jivatma leaves this body and passes on to another body after the final event. In this sloka, वासांसि जीर्णानि यदा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. Just as one discards old attires, dresses, and wears new ones, Jivatma leaves a body and its demise and acquires a new body and new life. A Jivatma is indestructible by any form of weaponry and is equally unaffected even by fire, water, or air. In this sloka, avyaktathini bhutani, vyaktamajjhani bharata, avyaktani adhananyeva tatraka paradevana. Bhagavan says, all beings before birth are not manifest, not known wherefrom they emerged, and also not manifest again after death, not known where they have gone. They are only visible in between. Bhagavan asks Arjuna, why to grieve about such beings? Bhagavan reminds Arjuna that his wailing or his feeling remorse or sorrowful is only due to lack of conviction at a time when he has to show his swadharma, that is his own duty of a Kshatriya. Kshatriya means a person of ruling class, and his duty is to fight the enemy unmindful of the final result. In this connection, Bhagavan says through this sloka, Sudukhe same kutva, labha labho jaya jayo, tato yuddha yujjasva, naivam papmavapsasi. Meaning, he gives the important advice to Arjuna to adopt an attitude of equanimity towards these twin possibilities, that is, victory or defeat, happiness or sorrow, or profit or loss, and exhorts him to be ready to fight his enemy, and he incurs no sin through this action. At this stage, Bhagavan tells Arjuna that he so far advocated the path of wisdom or Sankhya Yoga, and now he teaches him the path of action, that is Karma Yoga, which if followed also relieves a person of his bondages and the effect of his karmas, that is actions. Bhagavan advises Arjuna to attain knowledge or wisdom and the holy attitude of equanimity through this Karma Yoga, which is the practice of Nishkam Karma, that is performing actions without expectation on the result. This yoga leads a person towards the knowledge of real self, that is self-realization he achieves. He explains that unwise people get into a web of attractions towards worldly pleasures, and in order to achieve them, do sakam karmas, that is actions loaded with desires, by performing the peripheral rituals contained in Vedas, without assimilating their true meaning. Vedas mean the four Vedas, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samveda, and Atharvaveda. And these Vedas are sacred texts of knowledge, believed to have been evolved from the mouth of God Almighty directly, and later propagated through ages in the past by sages or rishis to their disciples, again orally, till they were scripted and written at a very later period. In this sloka, Bhagavan says about the implications of Karma Yoga. Karmanye vahadikaraste, ma phaleshu kadachana, ma karma phala hetur bhuhu, mate sangosto karmani. Meaning, one needs to understand by adopting Karma Yoga that he has only a right to do actions according to his duty, but have no right or the fruits of his actions. This does not mean thinking of moving away from doing actions, but only do his dutiful actions without any interest on the outcome. In Arjuna's query, Bhagavan defines a Chitta Prajna as an enlightened soul with a balance of mind, control over his indriyas, and who shows equanimity in both happy and sorrowful moments. Indriyas mean the five sense organs: eye, nose, mouth, ear, and skin. A Chitta Prajna is unruffled or unaffected, Bhagavan says, by the vagaries of this life, and he is one who dissociates himself from all actions and desires pertaining to indriyas. Bhagavan cautions that even a wise man, though he tries to control his indriyas, sense organs, they may strongly pull him towards indriyarthas, so long as desires persist. Indriyarthas mean the sense objects, that's form, touch, smell, taste, and sound, which we enjoy using our indriyas, the sense organs. In the following sloka, Bhagavan vividly describes how one needs to restrain his mental activities. Krodhat bhavata samoha, samohat smriti vibramaha, smriti bhranshat buddhinasyo, buddhinasat pranasyati. A desire, if unfulfilled, leads one to a state of anger, and thereby to loss of judgment, which finally pushes him to self-destruction. Bhagavan further says That one with control over self, that is himself, attains mental peace and is free from unhappiness, and he will be able to concentrate his intellect on the God Almighty. Bhagavan continues to stress that in this sloka, Tasmadasya Mahabaho, Nugrihithan Sarvasha, Indriyan Indriyadrebhya, Tasya Prajna Pratishta. Meaning, one has to control his indriyas, that is, sense organs, to wean them away, that is, to prevent them from indriyarthas, so as to have a nischayatmaka buddhi, that is, to have a steady intellect. Bhagavan explains the importance of denouncing ahankara. Ahankara means the feeling of possessiveness in this sloka. Vihai kamani has sarvan, humam sarti nispruha, nirmamo nirahankarha, sa shantam adhigachyati. Meaning, Bhagavan says that one who abandons or renounces desires, attachments, and ahankara, that is feeling of possessiveness, he attains peace and will be free from moha, that delusion, and reaches a Brahmi state, that is a state of oneness with the Supreme Soul, the God Almighty. Now I give my viewpoint. The viewpoint is on how ordinary persons like me can understand and needs to understand the message given by Bhagavan Sri Krishna in this chapter. This chapter, Sankhya Yoga, we can consider to be a pivotal one or a central one. That is, it's the jewel of all the chapters in Bhagavad Gita, we can say. If you imagine the chapter to be a full blossomed flower with shiny petals, we can see that all the other chapters stand for these beautiful petals. The message given in this chapter is on the fundamental truth that one is required to know about this mortal life. The message leads us to the type of discipline and plan that one needs to follow to make her or his life purposeful and rewarding. Particularly, the reward is mainly in terms of knowledge, in realizing self vis-a-vis, that is, in relation to the Supreme Almighty, and fulfillment of the short mortal life. As is very much clear to us, we all are trapped in this quagmire of this mortal life. Quagmire means soft wetland where we sink immediately if we set foot on that. We are equally agitated like Arjuna, with innumerable problems afflicting us. Of course, we mere mortals are in no way comparable to Arjuna, who by himself is virtuous and is a great personality with proven abilities and profound knowledge. His depression or expression of his anguish was quite momentary. It was out of compassion towards his own kith and kin and repulsion towards the possible gross destruction that may result out of the war and nothing else. This is the same as or in consonance with the thoughts on Gita of Swami Vivekananda. As Swamiji justly proclaimed, for Arjuna it was only a fleeting instance of moha or illusion arising out of his daya, that is pity, that brought on him unwillingness to follow his Kshatriya dharma, that is of fighting his enemy. In our case, the moha or illusion or confusion is deeper and somewhat of serious nature, arising out of our complete ignorance of the values of this mortal life in human form and our inability to cope with the vicissitudes, that is fluctuations, and hardships, that is difficulties in this mundane life. One needs to first understand the sublime reality from Bhagavan's message in this chapter Sankhya. What is the reality? In every being there exists Jivatma or Atma, which is the vital prana in the body, or vital substance within the body. The body and Atma are two entities that constitute a living being. While the body eventually perishes on one's demise, Jivatma remains forever. Let us understand, Atma residing within a body is the Jivatma. While recognizing the subtle difference between these two, I however use the two words Atma and Jivatma as synonyms in the narration. Atma is the individual soul and is the true inner self. It is the Antaryami, the indweller within a being. Paramatma is the superior soul. Also, we need to realize the profound reality that Jivatma within a body is nothing but an infinitesimal fragment of Paramatma, the supreme creator of this universe. He exists in all beings and is all pervading. Jivatma is imperishable and eternal and moves from one body to another over repeated births. One should be very happy to know this sublime truth that all beings are sacred carriers of Paramatma's great presence within a mortal body. How much care that we must take and with how much sanctity that we need to maintain to keep this body clean. The mere thought of this holy truth shall fill us with a mysterious feeling of elation and surprise. This is because the adorable God is within us and so in every being around. It is for us only to recognize this truth. Everyone needs to make efforts to look inwards, to know the Antaryami, this supreme being lying within us. Sankhya or Jnana Yogi is knowledgeable or wise about the sublime truth and the absolute reality about this mortal life. Gautam Buddha, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Sri Ramana Maharshi are such exceptional personalities who are Jnana Yogis, Sankhya Yogis, who graced this earth in living forms of God Almighty. Sankhya Yoga is a path of knowledge or wisdom which only a blessed few can follow. Bhagavan, with all his benevolence and consideration towards ordinary souls like us, and knowing about our limited capabilities in following this philosophy of Sankhya Yoga practice, has given us the much required guidance and the advice about this path of action or Karma Yoga to gain true knowledge and wisdom and become Jnana Yogis eventually while going about all our daily actions. And as we see, he graciously continues to stress and advise on this Karma Yoga in this chapter and almost all the rest of the chapters in Bhagavad Gita. What more Bhagavan said about this path of action or Karma Yoga? Bhagavan says, we need to practice doing every action in this life with a balanced mind and with a feeling of vairagya. There is a feeling of detachment. Of course, when you feel and even doubt that, this may be easier said than done. But we all must know that it is definitely not possible. When Bhagavan asks us to develop equanimity, that is a feeling of taking things with a balanced mind at all stages of our life. It is contained in this sloka. Matra sparshasta kaunteya, sitoshna sukha dukkadaha, agama paino nityaha, tasti tishyaso bharata. We ordinary persons feel more agitated always in this type of situations. So how to develop equanimity? In this sloka, Bhagavan actually asks us to endure and tolerate them bravely, and also explains to us that these twin feelings arise or generate due to our indriyas or sense organs feeling the sense objects, that is form, taste, smell, sound and touch. They may be momentary, but they obstruct progress. Along with this attitude of equanimity, Bhagavan stresses on developing vairagya, that is a sense of detachment. In the following sloka, he puts before us the stark reality, what we all see happening before our own eyes. Yatasihi dhruva murchu, dhruvam janma murtasya, tasmat aparharyerthe nattam sochitmarhasi. It is true that death after birth and the birth after death are inevitable. But one should not grieve over these unavoidable circumstances, Bhagavan says. We all know about this truth, right? But we are weaklings. We cannot restrain our feelings. Of course, knowing is different and practicing is different. That we should know. Gandhiji, after a lot of practice of avoiding eating sugar, then only he dared to advise a child to avoid sugar. Such practice and a strong conviction is needed in this Karma Yoga. In this context, Bhagavan's focal or central advice is to follow Karma Yoga by a practice of Nishkam Karma. Bhagavan explains more clearly about this practice in the following sloka. What is that practice? Let us read this sloka. Vyavasayatmaka buddhi ekhe kurnandana bhaushaka henantascha buddhiyo vyavasayinam. Meaning, Karma Yoga is the path by which one needs to reach his goal by studying hard with an Ishyatmaka buddhi, that is concentrated intellect. Otherwise, by doing Sakam Karmas, that is performing actions with endless desires, going in different directions, disintegrate and dissipate our souls. Along with this message, we must also consider Bhagavan's message in this sloka, Karmanye vadikaraste, ma phalesh kadachana, ma karma phalahetur bhuhu, mate sangostu karmani, as the basic tenet in Karma Yoga. This sloka teaches us about one has only authority in performing dutiful actions, but not on the end results. So here we remember in an earlier video, we reminded ourselves of the fact that if one really has control over the results of his actions, he could become by mere intent or an effort a Gautam Buddha or Swami Vivekananda. But that's not to be. So this particular sloka we must treat as a parental advice, guiding us always in our lives. Bhagavan's advice in the following sloka also, we must take it as a close companion. Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vati tarishati tata gantasi nirvedam Sotirvyasya Sutasya. Meaning, one needs to control or surmount moha, that is delusion, which is like a mire, that is a marshy land. Overcoming this delusion, one can achieve only by crossing the bridge of desires, by developing vairagya, that is a sense of detachment. Many times Bhagavan repeats this advice like a true teacher. What is that advice? Desires are derived via our sense organs only, that is indriyas. Naturally, one needs to control the sense organs of indriyas in order to surmount this delusion. In a what a simple way Bhagavan explained the following sloka about the practice employed in Karma Yoga. Yada samvarte chayam kurmonganeva sarvasaha indriyani indriyadebhya tasya prajna pratishtha. Meaning, we need to start fixing our buddhi, that is our intellect, and acquiring wisdom by withdrawing ourselves from the clutches of desires, that is temptations. Similar to a tortoise withdrawing its organs into its shell at the sight of a slightest danger. Where our danger lies, as you know very well, our danger lies in our weakness in getting easily weaned away, that is attracted by our cravings, our desires of indriyas, that is our senses. When one loses his control over his indriyas and mind, he cannot have nischyatma buddhi, steady intellect. This we can find in this sloka. Nasti buddhire yuktasya, nacha yuktasya bhavana, nacha bhavitasya shanti, ashantasya kuta sukham. What is the result? Such a person won't have the much needed concentration, thereby will be deprived of mental peace and happiness. In explaining about the amount of steadiness or concentration required in a person to achieve the desired state of a true karma yogi, Bhagavan gives in the following sloka a simple but an extremely pointed guidance. Apuryamanam achal pratistham samudramapha pravisantyadvat tadvat kamayam pravisant sarvi sashantamapnoti nakamakami. Meaning, just as an ocean is unruffled or unperturbed and remains calm and composed, even when so many rivers flow into it from all sides, similarly, a true yogi or an enlightened person gets unperturbed, even when desires arising out of sensual organs engulf him or surround him. So finally, we have seen in this chapter a flower steadily blossoming with shiny petals. On each petal, Bhagavan, for the sake of ordinary souls like us, has very lucidly scripted simple and sublime truths about Karma Yoga, the path of action for self-realization. We should assimilate these truths and preserve them as holy guidelines in this mortal life. As you can understand, Bhagavan's message in this chapter is universal in nature and is applicable to human mankind irrespective of position and prosperity. As we later see, the sacred message is further elaborated in the chapters to follow. Here ends my viewpoint on this chapter, Sankhya Yoga. Now I wish to say about a Vishesh Sukti, or a special word. It is a connected word and an illuminating thought from a Upanishad or a writing by an eminent personality. Also, it is connected with the message given by Bhagavan Sri Krishna in this chapter. Here the Vishesh Sukti, a special word, is from Vivek Chudamani of Adi Shankaracharya. It is on self-realization, that is understanding the self. If we quote Sri Ramana Maharshi's words, it is self-inquiry. It is about knowing this mortal life of ours, how to make it purposeful, and how to seek for the true reality of self and the Supreme. Vivek Chudamani by Adi Shankaracharya is a masterpiece on Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, which proclaims Paramatma alone is real, and he is the Supreme Soul. The universe is unreal. The individual soul in me or you and all around us is none other than the Supreme Soul. Here I recite the verse in Vivek Chudamani which enlightens us on this aspect of self-realization. The sloka reads like this. Moshasa hethu pradhamo negadhyate vairagyam achyanta manitya vasushu tatah samaschapi dhamasti tiksha nyasaha prajaktakhila karmanam vrusam. Meaning, the first step to have self-realization by a mortal is to nurture or cultivate extreme disinterest in all perishable things, and to develop serenity, self-control, patience, and renunciation of all actions enjoined or instructed in Shastras. Let us understand here, all work on Shastras means all actions performed with a selfish motive or for a desire to be fulfilled. Before I leave you, my friends, and join you again for the video on chapter 3, I wish to share with you a few thoughts of mine on Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Sutras means guidelines. These Yoga Sutras written in Sanskrit by sage Patanjali are key to yoga philosophy or yoga practice. It contains 4 padas, that is 4 sections or parts. The first one is Samadhipada. Samadhi means meditation or concentration. Second one is Sadhanapada. Sadhana means practice or discipline. Third one is Vibhutipada. Vibhuti means manifestation. Fourth one is Kaivalyapada. Kaivalya means moksha or liberation. The sutras in the four padas total to about 196 slokas or verses. One finds them to be unique, characterized by being short and terse. That is very brief, also called aphorisms. The first part, Samadhipada, is on concentration. We already heard in this chapter Sankhya Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna emphasizing the importance of concentration one needs to develop in order to fix his mind on Paramatma. This is reflected in this sloka. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asit matparha vasehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtitaha. Meaning, with all senses restrained, one should sit steadfast, intent, that is determined to concentrate on Paramatma. For anyone whose senses are under control, that is, for whom his sense organs are all withdrawn from their wanderings, his wisdom is steady. The same is echoed by sage Patanjali in the chapter Samadhipada also. I recite here the first two sutras. Here in explaining them, I refer to the translation and commentary by Swami Vivekananda. Let us now look at the first two verses. The first one is an introductory one. Adha Yogani Shashanam, meaning that now explaining about concentration. This is an introductory sloka. A real guideline follows in the second sutra as we see. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, meaning yoga is a restriction of the chitta, that is mind stuff, from taking various vrittis, that is forms. These various forms are our thoughts only. Suppose chitta is a lake, and our own true self, let it be at the bottom of the lake. Just as the lake will be clear and the bottom of the lake is visible only when there are no waves. Similarly, our own true self, lying deep within the chitta, is realized, that is, self-realization will be attained only when the mind is kept calm and tranquil by abhyasa or practice of concentration, and when it is made free from all the vrittis, that is thoughts. Saying these words, I now remain.